Hello, Nenza.
Hi, good day.
Alright, before we dig in, I just want to say thank you for being here today. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Okay. Alright, so tell us a bit about yourself. Just a brief history on your personal life so we can get to know a bit more about
Okay, my name is Beka of Nigerian descent. I was born in Delta State, around the southern area of Nigeria. But originally I'm from Plateau State. They call it Middle Belt, or some people call it part of the North. I'm number 3 out of 5 siblings. I'm like the middle child. Yeah. What else do you want to know? Okay. Yeah, my dad is a retired Navy officer. My mom, she's an entrepreneur, does a lot of things, whatever. Uh, what? Okay, so I have 4 siblings. We are 4 boys and 1 girl. I have 2 older ones and 2 younger ones. Like I said, I'm the middle child. So talking about my education, my primary school was in Delta State because that's where I grew up, spent most of my life. And then I think when I was like 13, 14, 15 or so, when I was a teenager, we moved down to Abuja, the country's capital. And we've been staying there ever since. So that's where I completed my secondary school, my SS3, and then to university. So funny thing, my university was actually the first time I spent like years at a stretch in my hometown, which is Plateau State, Jos, and all that. So it was actually a good experience for me to like reconnect with my roots, as they call it, and all that. It was interesting, Sha. So 4 years in the University of Jos. I graduated recently. Second class upper. Maybe say I did brag, Sha, but yeah. Mass communication, Bachelor of Arts. So I can say I'm certified in things of the arts or whatever. Anyhow, so that's like a brief history of where I'm coming from, where I'm headed to, stuff like that. So
you. Okay. At what point did photography come into the picture?
I think when I was a teenager, I think like 13 or 15 thereabouts, I got this phone, Techno L9, when they launched the phone newly. Like the phone had the best camera I had seen at that time, so I was just taking pictures of random things and all that, and it was really interesting. And then I think I went to the university, studied mass communication and all that. So I think in my second year, we had this accreditation team from the federal government, so they're coming to check out our course and everything. So in that process, my school brought out a bunch of new equipment that we haven't seen before. So I was like, what is this? That was the first time I saw like a digital camera, like held it for the first time. And it was a really, really cool experience because I remember I held the camera and I was like, what do I do next? So I went to YouTube and I searched, I think camera basics for dummies or something like that. So I watched like a few videos and then, and it's funny because they just entered our classroom and they were like, okay, who knows how to use a camera? Who has experience in photography and all that? I just raised my hand. Like I did not even know, I just raised my hand. So he called me aside, gave me, I think, 600D, if I'm not mistaken, Canon. So I went back home with the camera, watched a few videos on YouTube, and I felt like, yes, I was ready to do this. So I came back to school, and then everything I learned, because the team were to report to school the next day to start their whole thing. So they arrived, I was there with the camera, like feeling confident and all that. And then I just put on the camera. I think I mistakenly hit the mode dial and it switched back to manual. So that was where, boom, my head just lost it. Everything I had learned on auto mode and everything was just down the drain. So I had to like think on my feet and I was able to switch it back. And I did some kind of run and gun movement like that. But anyhow, it was a very, very good experience. So from there, I sparked an interest in digital cameras and like how they work and all that. So I was very interested. I went back, learned a few more things, and I think that was how the journey started. That was the seed.
Alright, that was an awesome story. Thanks for sharing. Now, if you don't mind, I'd love to ask you a few questions that I know those watching want to get.
Okay, cool.
Alright, first is, of all aspects of being a creative, why photography?
Personally, I don't know. I feel photography is easy for me. Like it comes natural for me. I tried drawing when I was a child. Like I was enjoying it, but I wasn't really good at it. So and then when I found photography, I was like, this is it. So I think that's why I just picked it up and ran with it.
Nice. second question. Who or what inspired you to pursue a career in photography?
Who or what? Okay, I can remember. Okay, I can remember a defining moment where I was like, yes, this is what's for me. I think 200 level also. My class, we had this like lecture on photography and all that. So our lecturer brought in a guest, a photographer by the name of Kureng Dapel. He's a world-renowned photographer. He has won several awards. So he came and gave us this talk. Like, you know how people come and they're like, yeah, I did this, I did that. So I was like, whatever. But then he pulled out a projector and then he connected his laptop and all that. And then he started showing us his pictures. Like, from the very first picture I saw, I was like, damn, like, is this really possible? Like, through photography, this guy did this thing. I was like, very impressed. So he kept on with the slideshow and I was just in awe of everything he was doing. So after the class, I went to talk to him, and surprisingly, like previously I'd heard most photographers are big, they're like, they don't have time for questions and all that. But I went to the guy and I asked him a few questions and he was very happy to help me. He gave me his personal number. That's really stuck with me. Like, he gave me his personal contact that, okay, I should call him if I have any other question. I was like, man, solitude. So I did just that. When I got home, I think I sent him a message on WhatsApp and he replied. So from there, picked up interest. So okay, I think something worth mentioning is one of the pictures he showed us. One underwater shoot. I think you'll find it on YouTube or something. So the reason why that picture stood out for me was because I had no idea photography could even exist like underwater. So when I saw it, I was like, the possibilities are like endless and everything. So I just said to myself, if this guy can do this thing, then even if it takes me 10 years, my whole life, I'm going to get to that point. So big shout out to Kureng Dapel. His Instagram, I think, is Kureng Works, WORKX, if I'm not mistaken. I think, Kureng Works, something like that. Yep.
Nice. Right. Next question.
Mm-hmm.
How would you rate your journey in photography? Like, how has it been so far?
In Nigerian slangs, I'll say it be things, because the journey is not easy. A lot of ups and downs. Like, starting out, you feel like, yes, you can achieve anything. But then when you like put your feet into the water, you know, this thing is not easy. Like, there's a long way to go. So basically, I would just say, if you want to go into photography, just be ready to like stick it out. Don't say, okay, the moment things get tough, just like, I'm done, I quit. Like, everything in life takes time. So persistence, what's this what I'm looking for? What's the word? Like, when you keep doing something over and over again. Prompt me, what's the word? Consistency. Thank you. That's the word. So just be consistent. Even if what you're doing doesn't make sense now, trust me, to make sense like 10 minutes from now, to make sense. An hour from now, to make sense. A day from now, to make sense. So just keep doing what you're doing. The journey, like I said, is not easy, but we're getting there by the grace of God. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Next question. What are your short and long-term goals for your career?
Okay. I've always told people, okay, my nickname kind of is the Canon shooter, so by that you should know what my plans are. Eventually, my long-term goal is to get sponsored by Canon. Maybe to be an ambassador, to be a creator with Canon, to be officially recognized by Canon, because it's my favorite brand. I love their cameras and everything. So for short-term goals, okay, there's this thing I started doing, or I'm trying to do now. It's concerning mental health among creatives. So I feel like it's something that we don't talk about a lot, and we need to start talking about it. Even besides mental health, there are some conversations as creatives that we need to have. Issues of anxiety, issues of pricing, how to talk to clients and all that. So if we have these conversations, I feel like it will improve our industry. Because these days, people do quality work for like next to no pay, and it's really something that bugs me. Because I went through it, it's still painful because it's still something that happens. Creatives have been exploited by companies and startups and whatever, just because, okay, we don't know our worth. So I'm trying to like see if I can band together with other creatives and like create or like come up with something where we educate ourselves on the right things to do to move our industry forward. So that's a short-term goal, which we eventually develop into a long-term goal of being sponsored and all that.
All right. Now for the final question. What piece of advice
Advice. Basically, I'll just say what I've been saying for the past how many years, as long as I can remember. Don't give up. Things will surely align. If it doesn't make sense now, it makes sense 10 years from now, a year from now, an hour from now. So just keep doing what you're doing. If you feel discouraged, talk to somebody. The days of dying in silence are long gone. So if you have a problem, open your mouth and talk to somebody. If you have challenges financially, talk to somebody. If it's mental health, your emotional, whatever, talk to somebody. It really helps. Said a problem shared is a problem half solved. So at least there you have it. That's basically all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. So big shout out to guys at Styra Yacho. Yeah, it's a creative brand recently coming up. They've been doing amazing things, and I'm so grateful that they reached out to me and we've been able to work together and create some lovely things. So hopefully you see my face around there a lot. So big shout out to Ruramai. He's the brains behind Styra Yacho. So if you want to know more about the brand, you can go to their Instagram and their YouTube. You can get some of the information you need. And also, I think they published an article. This interview has been published as an article on LinkedIn. So I think I'll find the link and put it there somewhere for you guys to watch or to read rather. So big shout out. Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. And be safe. Peace.